Welcome to Fieldsports Britain, coming to you from that country over there, Australia. Coming up from down under, one of the country's most sporting states is opening up a wealth of deer hunting for international visitors. We find out what's on offer. We're guests of Winchester, Australia, and they love duck hunting. We're at Australia's biggest shooting show to find out what Aussies love to do when they're not losing at cricket or complaining about their Prime Minister. First, let's leave the sea, find a deer and maybe a roo too. The Australian states of Victoria and South Australia have some of the best deer stalking you will find anywhere in the world. From July 2013, Victoria is shedding a great wodge of bureaucracy that stops international hunters from coming here. I'm out to see what's going to be on offer with the help of pro deer stalker Mark Reams.
Deer stalking is pretty big here now, so it's got quite popular. So there's a lot more deer around now than there has been in previous years, so yeah, it's getting quite popular now.
What are we after this morning?
We're going to go down the bush line here and have a look for a fallow deer. So there's quite a few in this area. Some good stags have been shot here, so with any luck we'll wander down there and hopefully run into a couple and see how we go. But
You only have fallow deer here. What else do you have?
there are red deer here as well. Not as many, but they're easily noticed, so they get shot. But the fallow are coming on quite good here. So.
Species include chital, hog deer, red deer and this one, sambar. One of the 8 deer species is fallow. Mark filmed this old boy during the rut, which takes place in April. It wasn't long before Mark came back. This is a sportsman's paradise. Now, a fallow herd can be tough to get near to, with so many eyes alert for danger.
We've got some deer just over the rise here, about 300 yards down. So I think what we'll do, Charles, is we might get back into the bush line here, creep down very quietly and see if we can't, we'll have a look, see if there's a trophy animal here. If not, we're going to proceed, see if we can get a nice eating one or something like that.
In Australian rules deer hunting, they employ an Aussie early alert system. Not only are we trying to outwit the deer, but the marsupials are keen to sound the alert if things aren't right. A happy kangaroo means happy deer, so that means we have to head into the bush and work around.
There's about 50 odd kangaroos down there, so that's, we've got, plus the deer, 50 or 60 sets of eyes watching out for us. So we'll sneak up through the cover as quiet as we can and see how we go.
We don't want them to get the bounce on us. The bounce. We have to be silent. However, we are in a gum tree wood, and gum trees like to keep down the competition by occasionally bursting into flames. They create that effect by shedding dry bark and branches and waiting for someone to drop a cigarette in the wrong place during the dry season. It means we're walking on what is effectively kindling. Still, what do I know about the natural environment? We hear this, which I identify as this. And Mark confirms is this.
It was a koala. He's calling out for his girlfriends.
Despite the wildlife of the Pacific Rim conspiring against us, we managed to get into position. But they haven't invented a bullet that passes accurately through eucalyptus, so Mark says we have to move one dry tree trunk nearer. And that's our mistake. We trip the kangaroo security beam, and they're off, taking the deer with them. So nothing mucks up your morning stalking like kangaroos do. So can you come and hunt deer here? Yes, you can. All the deer species are introduced from somewhere. None are A-grade Australian wildlife, so stalking them is something the government encourages.
So we're trying to open and grow that market, and we really encourage people to come to this country and take advantage, particularly of our wonderful game resources in Victoria.
Basically, Victoria is open for business as far as hunting is concerned.
Open for business. We'd love to see any international visitor here. Lots of Australians go overseas. We'd like to see that come the other way as well.
Like South Africa and the springbok, Ireland and the red stag, and the Bahamas and the blue marlin, Australia belongs to a long list of countries around the world that hunts its national symbol. Kangaroos have reached plague proportions in many parts of the country, but Australian shooters and the Australian government take kangaroo culls extremely seriously. There is a great layer of regulation before anyone is allowed to shoot a roo, and farms have to apply for a destruction permit. Mark takes us to one such farm. It's not long before a mob of kangaroos cross our path, and we drop one where it stands using Zauer's new 101 in 3006.
There are an awful lot of these animals, aren't there? Kangaroos, yes, especially now in the southern parts of Australia. The southern grey kangaroo, due to the farmers opening up all the countryside and everything, their numbers have exploded. Now the government issues permits to have them shot, otherwise they just eat all the food and they die in mass numbers. So now they shoot them under the permit system. It's an option that farmers have now that help them clear out the land a little bit.
Okay, but whereas other things like rabbits and feral pigs in the Northern Territories, I mean, there's a kind of wipe clean.
Yeah, an open slather type thing where they just want them eradicated entirely. Where the kangaroo, it's under a more of a managed program.
Yeah, incredible animals. I mean, we have no frame of reference for this in the UK at all, but I mean, look at these extraordinary hind legs for getting around on.
Yeah, half the kangaroo's legs, muscles for bounding, a long table to stabilise it as it hops, and you know, small front legs which are near useless only for grasping things, but as they say, they can travel huge distance in a short amount of time. As I said, they're perfectly designed for the country.
And you can't build a kangaroo-proof fence?
No, a 6-foot fence is nothing for a kangaroo to jump.
Really?
Like a normal farm fence like these ones is just a mild obstacle. Yeah.
Tell me about the eating on this thing, because I mean, that looks like a reasonably good leg.
Yeah, well, now in Australia they are shot by professionals for the human consumption trade. So now that you can have kangaroos that have been processed in an abattoir, and you can buy selected cuts in your supermarkets now.
Just like any game meat?
Any game meat. It's very lean, high in protein, low in fat, so it's a very good quality meat.
We came for deer, but we ended up with a kangaroo, and we did try roo meat that night. It was certainly lean, but the ribeye steak was more appealing. And don't forget that deer stalking in Victoria will be open to all international hunters from July 2013. And no, you don't have to swing through like this. Boing, 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 bang. Now, I couldn't leave him behind. It is David on the Fieldsports Channel News Stump.
This is Fieldsports Britain News. You heard it here first. Australia is open for hunting business. But the new laws coming in July are not just about encouraging foreigners to hunt. The state of Victoria has brought in a raft of, no, not laws, but relaxation of laws, encouraging kids aged 12 to 17 to go hunting, extending the red deer season from 2 months to the whole year, and allowing the use of terriers while you're out hunting. Follow the link on the screen for more. An accident in South Australia is the reason sport hunting should be banned across the country, say anti-hunting groups. A man carrying out a cull of feral goats was shot in the ankle. New South Wales opposition environment spokesman Luke Foley says the accident is further confirmation of the dangers of allowing amateur hunters in national parks. An Australian TV interview about gun control with 2 shock jocks didn't go as expected, and the clip is now doing the rounds on the internet. The pundits on Channel 7's Sunrise programme were expected to come down heavily in favour of banning guns, but they both agreed that Australian gun laws are tough enough, prompting this reaction from the studio.
The majority of gun owners are highly responsible, and they're not going to do the kinds of damage that these other weapons cause.
Yep. Australia is to get a new angling attraction. The museum has been developed in a historic house at Evandale near Launceston and covers the history of fly fishing across 3 states. Trout were first introduced to Tasmania in the 1860s. Greenpeace is under fire from the Australian government and media after it tried and failed to run a TV advertising campaign against Coca-Cola. The commercial, now running on YouTube, was due to run on Australia's Channel 9 TV station. It shows people drinking Coca-Cola from plastic bottles, followed by images of dead birds falling from the sky, claiming the company is bullying politicians into blocking a deposit scheme for drink containers, and that waste plastic bottles are therefore killing seabirds. And finally, 2 Australian hunters got the surprise of their lives when they reviewed the footage from their trail cam. We tracked down Danny Galia, prominent in the Australian gun trade, and it would appear he goes to great lengths to wind up his hunting mad brothers.
What got him away was a Tag-Heuer watch. It was in between the glove and the suit. So I was pretending I was shaking a tree, and there's this watch going like that.
Not really sure it was the watch that gave it away, Danny. You are now up to date with Fieldsports Britain news. Stalking the stories, fishing for facts.
Thank you, David. Now, just one Hello Charlie this week. Thanks to everybody else who sent one in. We'll run them next week.
Hi there, David. It's nice Hello Charlie, isn't it? Yeah. Hello Charlie, I'm over here in Australia. No, I'm not actually. I'm sitting here with Roy because you've left us behind.
And we're sitting here having to console ourselves by eating lemon drizzle cake. I'm just really upset. I was just looking at this map of Australia, thinking about all the lovely times that we could have been having over there. Even an invitation would have been something, wouldn't it? You know, just the thought would have been lovely, but no.
Yeah, thanks. I didn't even know you were gone. Just by the time my parents dropped me off at boarding school, I was just left there wondering what was going on. Didn't even say goodbye. Where's Crow? Have you got Crow with us?
Is he out there in his budgie smugglers? No, not a nice thought, is it?
It's a horrible thought.
Send us your own Hello Charlie. Film yourself on your mobile phone, just a sentence saying Hello Charlie, who you are and what you're up to. Then share it or email it via YouTube, Facebook, Dropbox, or you send it, you name it, to charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. While the cat's away. Right, what's next? Of course, Aussie sport. Well, within minutes of getting off the plane, I was crouching by a creek, waiting for duck with a skeet champion. I wouldn't want to be Australian duck at this time of year. It's open season and I really pity any that we chance upon this morning.
Literally, we're an hour from the airport, so we'll try and shoot some ducks here. We're just going to have a little bit of a driven shoot. Hopefully they'll fly straight down the river and we'll get some action.
I'm with Casey Paletti, a modest bloke who's not only an ex-skeet champion, but a former army sharpshooter. Now, we're expecting great things from you, because you are a crack shot, aren't you, Casey?
Apparently.
Yeah. Now, being immodest, what have you done?
Yeah. As a junior, which in Australia is up to the age of 21, represented Australia in Olympic skeet. So I was lucky enough to do a couple of trips overseas, World Cups and World Championships over in Europe. Once I hit about 22, I joined the army, which took me to some other countries in some different environments and different sort of shooting.
Casey works for outdoor sporting agencies, which imports the likes of Webley and Scott. It's a very different gun to Casey's competition Parazzi, but the British name sells well over here. A short wait by the creek yields a long shot at a Pacific black duck, which Casey pulls off with style. Stunning shot, well done.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the black duck.
Yep. It's got meat on it.
Yeah, they're actually not bad eating. These ones. Yeah, quite a nice bird to eat.
And it's about the same size as one of our mallard.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a drake, yeah?
That's a drake. So the scoreboard's ticking over.
We're out for a duck.
All right, beautiful. See if we can get some more.
We've got more duck shooting later in the programme. Now we're here to find out what this country's got to offer, and one of the best places to do that is the biggest shooting show in Australia. It's Shot Expo in Melbourne. There is not much kit under this roof that you wouldn't find at a gun show anywhere in the world. There are, of course, the big global names that most will be familiar with. But what is the traditional Aussie hunter looking for?
Yeah, it all depends on what section that you're in, what states you're in, to determine what calibre, because obviously you've got pigs, you've got deer, you've got kangaroos, foxes, so forth. Yeah.
We occasionally hear about things like duck hunting bans in New South Wales and, you know, gun bans and things like that. Is that trend still heading that way, or is the tide turning?
I think it's turning, because I don't see, you know, you've got your antis, but once upon a time they were continuously on TV whenever there was a duck opening. You don't get them on TV anymore, so they're still very loud, but they're not getting the coverage they used to, so that's helped.
The Australian hunting community is not without its problems. To try and meet what they call the extreme greens on a parliamentary playing field, shooters and fishers created a new party that's now on the political radar.
The reality is that Greens, certainly in the Australian context, don't represent anything green. What they basically are is communists and centralists and control artists, and what they think they can do is just influence the shutdown of almost everything in the country, and the country-oriented industries like forestry, agriculture. They want to control all the water, all this sort of stuff.
Now, if you joined the Shooters and Fishers party at the show, you got a free fox whistle. So let's see if I can get a tune out of this thing.
It's almost like this. That bit further into your mouth, bit further in, too hard. Grip it with your lips, not your teeth.
Oh, getting there.
Getting there, yeah. Now more like this. Too hard. Slow down.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you very much. These calls are amazing. Across the way from the Shooters and Fishers is a chap who's also leading the charge. Incredibly, there's been no hunting screened on Aussie TV. Rob Fickling has had to fight to get on the billing with his new series, Beyond the Divide.
My show focuses on the real adventure side of the hunts, the big wilderness, backcountry kind of experiences, and all the background stuff that hunting, that's really that grassroots level of being out there with your mates, the scenery and those special experiences you have in the bush.
Lovely, we got Australian viewers, so tell me, do the plug, when and where are you on?
The best thing is that for viewers, check out beyondthedivide.com.au, where they can see the screening times, and we've got 6 to go in the series, and it's been received with rapturous applause around the country and so much great feedback, so we look forward to moving forward and taking it into series 2.
Australia may be on the other side of the world, but there are Europeans here. Stefan Buring from Carl Zeiss has made the huge journey to support the introduction of the new Conquest HD5 rifle scope for the Aussie market. What does the number 5 mean?
It's a 5x zoom, so now we go into the super zoom story, and this is with the 1-inch scope, so it's a 215, 525 magnification, and also the 2-10.
So you're looking at hunting in really big areas where you need a lot of
long distance, big magnification, definitely.
Good. Have you used it?
Yes, I used it. I was down in South Africa, another big 1-inch scope market, and I shot black spot with it.
Brilliant. Other German manufacturers such as Blaser, Sauer and Mauser are popular here, especially for the bigger game up north. But as we know, most Australians at some point in their lives end up working in a bar in West London. So they do like to travel, and what better rifle to choose than an easily transportable Blaser R8.
There are a lot of lower end firearms available worldwide, but there are a lot of shooters also that want higher end firearms.
Okay.
Really high quality German firearms, and that's this rifle is not for everybody. It's for people that are willing to spend, you know, quite a few $1,000s.
So it's a deer stalker's rifle, really?
Well, it's very popular with deer stalkers, but it's popular also with your general pig shooters, guys that do vermin control. It's a very popular sporting hunting rifle in general.
And it's not just Blaser that gives you that go-anywhere ability. Mauser can also become poacher's pocket-sized.
I think whatever Mauser has a very strong brand name, wherever everybody knows Mauser. And I think whatever, if it comes, the Mauser brand name comes into play. Everybody thinks about whatever dangerous game hunting in Africa, reliable all-steel construction rifles, and this is what we're doing.
Okay, well, you don't have much dangerous game here, do you?
No, of course not. But of course also the guys, whatever, they're not hunting dangerous game, they want to have all steel constructed, reliable hunting rifles.
Judging by the numbers, the show is a great success, and thank you to all of you who came up to say hello to the couple of jet-lagged pommies wandering around with the camera. Another big Aussie passion is duck hunting, and for a few short months every year, normally dedicated, responsible, reliable members of society turn into big galahs and go off in their quest for duck. It would appear that Aussie duck hunters are so mad keen on their sport they would sell their own children for a chance to sit by a muddy puddle in the hope that one of the country's 8 species will come their way. This morning we've been invited out by Glenn from Winchester, Australia to one of his favourite spots with his mates the 2 Pauls, who are equal duck nuts.
Well, it's a tiny little pond. But we're lucky enough that we're near a river system very nearby and some large water pondage that's nearby, which is holding good birds. So they tend to be coming in, getting stirred off the rivers and things as people move about. There's a lot of trout fishing in the area, so we're hopeful that some will get stirred off.
They are all Browning and Winchestered up. Glenn has been developing his own duck load specifically for Australia, but until the trials are complete he's more than happy to load his over and under with Blindside, a cartridge we first came across at the SHOT Show in Las Vegas.
It's a brand new technology. It is lead-free steel shot, and really the claim to fame to it is it's hex shot. It's not round like normal steel shot is. So it has a lot of edges and corners that upon impact deposits a lot more energy than a standard round steel pellet would.
Back to the chilly morning sport, and as the light levels lift, finally we say go, and each gun drops a bird as we are on the first mob.
It is a young grey teal, it's quite small. So a shot in the front part there, certainly hit where we wanted.
It's a bit of a wait, but another mob arrives and Paul's lab does her stuff. All 3 friends are dedicated shots, but one of the Pauls has twice represented his country at the Olympics, as well as being an accomplished duck caller.
I'll give you a black duck. So that's just your feeding call, greeting call and a comeback call with a black duck. That one there, that's a Hadel's call as well. Very good for man and duck.
You've learned to play them like a musical instrument, haven't you?
Oh, over time, yeah. There actually is a lot of blokes that are a lot better than me, but the more you do it, the better you get, I guess.
So if you get another big flood here in Victoria, you'll give up on Rio?
Hard to say. I don't think I'll give up on Rio, but I do love my ducks.
Then the curse of the camera strikes. Remember how we wouldn't let them shoot in case they reached 10 birds each before it was fully light? To Glenn's disappointment, the ducks don't come back in the numbers he'd hoped for.
There's nothing better than some fresh birds that have been shot as we've done this morning. Straight onto the pan after the hunt. Look, I enjoy many different ways of cooking the duck that we harvest. Take it home and use a number of different recipes, but I don't mind doing this either. It's a very nice way to fill the tummy when you've had a nice cold morning like we've had.
It's the first time all season the guys have not shot their permitted bag. But there is enough for breakfast, or should that be bush tuckerfast? Duck commanders eat your heart out. Next, hunting YouTube with a strong sense of the outback about it. This is Hunting YouTube, which aims to show the best hunting, shooting and fishing videos that YouTube has to offer. Coming to you this week from Australia. First up, fox shooting is a sport we Brits have in common with Aussies and is only mildly modified in the USA for coyotes and Africa for jackals. There are plenty of Australian fox shooting films and I have chosen this one, Fox Hunting Daytime Whistling Outback Australia, because it stars the irrepressible Steve Lee. Shooting foxes can sometimes be difficult, he says, and I won't attempt the accent. This isn't one of them times. As we have discovered the Fieldsports channel, deer hunting is one of Australia's top hunting sports, mainly in the south of the country. Hunting deer in the land of Oz, set to John Bon Jovi, is a good example. In the north of the country it's all about ferals, especially pigs. People would not use the old cliche plague proportions if they had seen Australia's pig problem. Pig shooting from helicopter shows a shooter scratching the surface by culling feral pigs on a property in Queensland with a pump action 223 from a chopper. On to fishing, and Australia has more than its fair share. In freshwater, barramundi are the native sport fish of choice, and there are lots of good barramundi fishing videos on YouTube. Here are Paul Warstelling and Jason Wilhelm from Barra Madness landing a 60-pounder at Lake Mondrian in Queensland. Another great fishing channel comes from the publishers of Australia's best fishing and hunting magazines. In One Big Hookup, a day's fishing doesn't exactly go to plan for Fishing World editor Jim Harnwell. He gets a hook pinned through his hand. Lots of good films to explore on this channel. Back to hunting, and let's go more extreme. Here is a promo for a hunting agent in the Northern Territory who offers water buffalo, wild boar and scrub bull. You get to see the outback with JR Hunting. Hard as Nails contains, as the title predicts, hunting violence. Ryan's dog is called Nails, and you find out why when he is put to work on the pigs at a cattle station. And finally, bow hunting is a big sport in Australia. For no better reason than you can do it, I have picked this video of someone hunting a bull camel with a bow. Camels? Yup. There are more than 2 million wild camels in Australia. They are a grade 1 pest, competing with native wildlife, especially for water. You can click on any of these films to watch them. If you have a YouTube film, and it doesn't have to be Australian, you would like us to pop into the weekly top 8, send it in via YouTube or email me the link, charlie@fieldsportschannel.tv. Well, that's it for Australian Rules Fieldsports Britain. And here are a couple of facts for you. They don't drink Fosters. And did you know that cockatoos live until they're 80 to 100 years old? Well, we're back next week when we'll be coming to you from this very boat. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't hesitate to hit the subscribe button that's somewhere around the outside of the screen, or go to our webpage, fieldsportschannel.tv, where you can click to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. This has been Fieldsports Britain.